Hello everybody. Buonasera. Welcome to this speech by Scibids. I'm Michele, country director of Scibids Italy, and we have on the other side, I'm pleased to introduce you to Rémi Lemonnier, co-founder of Scibids. Hi, Rémi.
Hi, Michele.
I'm in Milano, Rémi is in London, and we are here to speak before Giorgia Lupi, before the last event of the evening about the hot couple of the privacy era, that is data and artificial intelligence. So just a few notes, I will switch now in Italian, so I do my part in Italian and Rémi will then continue in English and we will interact a little bit in English. Quindi, ancora benvenuti da parte mia. Innanzitutto ci tenevo a raccontarvi che cosa significa Scibids, che tanti ce lo chiedono. È il nome dell'azienda, ovviamente, e Scibids significa Scientific Bidding. Quindi è già un'indicazione chiara di un approccio molto scientifico che questa azienda ha preso nel suo posizionamento nel mercato relativamente al mondo del programmatic advertising, dell'automated bidding, e quindi ha posto il suo focus su tutte quelle, diciamo, dinamiche e particolarità che i bid model devono avere per portare efficienza sul media trading. Chiaramente quando parliamo di dati artificial intelligence è anche abbastanza chiaro e comunque vogliamo spiegartelo perché li consideriamo la coppia calda nell'ambito dell'era della privacy. Privacy che in qualche modo sta guidando la trasformazione del marketing digitale. Ci sono alcuni elementi chiari davanti a noi che li abbiamo ripetuti tante volte ed è importante tenerli presente comunque continuamente, in quanto è un percorso questo che stiamo facendo, quello di cercare di lavorare su dati che si identificano meno agli utenti ma che vengono estratti più dai contesti di navigazione, dai contesti di media trading, da altri elementi, in modo tale che queste spine nel fianco che vediamo davanti a noi, ad esempio il 64% degli utenti che ritiene che il digital advertising non meriti più così tanta fiducia, così come anche il 70% dei marketers che in qualche modo pongono dei dubbi sul futuro del digital advertising, queste spine nel fianco non diventino dei problemi e vengano risolte, diciamo, con più ottimismo. Fondamentalmente poi quando parliamo di privacy è comunque anche un tema interessante, no? Perché l'avvento, diciamo, di regolamenti attorno ai dati, così come l'attitudine da parte dell'utente a prestare maggiore attenzione rispetto alla propria privacy, ci sta portando sempre di più a introdurre tecnologie che permettono di utilizzare e attivare dati, di cui adesso vi parleremo, che non sono quelli canonici e sono tecnologie sofisticate che vanno proprio nella direzione, per quello che fa Scibids, di portare più efficienza nel media trading con l'obiettivo di andare a costruire e raggiungere dei KPI personalizzati e introdurre degli automatismi che permettano di raggiungere questi risultati. Quando parliamo poi di intelligenza artificiale, a volte ci chiediamo cosa sia, sappiamo che in questo contesto l'intelligenza artificiale è la capacità di una macchina e quindi di un software di mostrare un apprendimento e un'esecuzione attorno ad alcuni task. Uno dei task più critici nell'ambito del digital advertising, del cosiddetto paid media, è proprio l'aspetto del media trading, cioè riuscire a valorizzare in modo corretto e coerente il valore di un'impression che si vuole acquistare dato un certo obiettivo e riuscire anche a selezionare l'inventory e quindi riuscire a partecipare alle aste di trading in modo più efficiente. Ma uno degli altri anche aspetti, diciamo, importanti dell'intelligenza artificiale è quello di riuscire a rompere i silos dei dati. Quando parliamo di dati abbiamo visto da dove siamo arrivati, e quindi tutto il mondo dei cookie è un aspetto abbastanza monolitico dei dati, a un mondo di dati che sono più in possesso da parte dei brand, da parte dei consumatori, da parte delle piattaforme. Quindi riuscire a rompere i silos e a integrare maggiori elementi in in un momento di ottimizzazione del media trading è quello che l'intelligenza artificiale riesce a fare. Viceversa è fondamentalmente, diciamo, poco possibile, poco realizzabile tramite degli algoritmi predittivi. L'intelligenza artificiale di Scibids, quindi dove arriva e di che cosa si tratta, e poi Rémi entrerà più nei dettagli. Fondamentalmente noi siamo il fautore, diciamo, principale nel mercato mondiale del cosiddetto concetto BYOA, che significa Bring Your Own Algo, Your Own Algorithm sulla DSP. Quindi Scibids lavora in un contesto che è fatto di stakeholder che utilizzano le nostre piattaforme. Gli stakeholder sono principalmente i brand e le agenzie che fanno media trading. I sistemi di Scibids si integrano nelle principali DSP di mercato, quindi sono già disponibili su DV60, su Xandar, MediaMath, The Trade Desk, eccetera, eccetera. I sistemi di Scibids sono messi anche in correlazione con strumenti che sono posseduti e utilizzati dai brand per tracciare tematiche di media efficiency o comunque tracciare e misurare qualsiasi elemento, diciamo, che la campagna deve andare a raggiungere. E il fatto di avere a disposizione questa tecnologia permette al brand di fare uno step up secondo la logica del raggiungere una propria customizzazione. Quindi costruire KPI, costruire algoritmi personalizzati è il mestiere di Scibids. L'algoritmo è il risultato ultimo che si integra nella DSP, che poi permette, diciamo, al brand di raggiungere i propri risultati. E dietro questo vantaggio, che è quello di raggiungere KPI personalizzati e di raggiungere KPI desiderati, c'è anche il vantaggio strategico da parte del brand di riuscire a fare innovazione insieme a noi, in quanto la collaborazione con le DSP avviene in modo, diciamo, esemplare e perfetto. È anche evidente che le DSP sono, per certi motivi, strumenti che standardizzano certi processi, quindi la differenziazione a livello di strategico, a livello di business è possibile con Scibids. Now, switching a bit in English, because Rémi is the co-founder of Scibids, and he's sure that he's the mind, while I'm more the hand, probably. I think that Rémi can tell us how Scibids artificial intelligence works, starting from this picture that is entering more into the technicalities with regards to the integration with the DSP. And then afterwards, he will show us a couple of examples of operational activities by Scibids, and also new examples about how to use new data with regards to some metrics such as attention, brand lift, and something similar.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, Michele. It's really a pleasure to be here today with all of you. And sorry not to be able to do that in Italian, but I would have. It would take a bit of time for me to learn the language. Although Michele speaks Spanish very well, so I'm a bit late here. We think, yeah, I think I'm going to try to provide a bit of clarity on why we think AI and data are linked together, and why we think that AI, used the right way, is a good way to make up for some of the data which is going to go away with the privacy regulation and events. So first, maybe let me recap a little bit how an AI such as Scibids work. Basically, the Scibids AI, it computes the relative interest of each impression, and it creates then bidding models to bid on those impressions based on the value that it computes. And to do so, Scibids basically builds a learning database based on two things. First, the input that can be retrieved in the DSP, so these are the data feeds, reports, campaign settings, etc. But also, and very importantly, buyers input. What's interesting to note is that most of the data that is going to be used by the AI for the optimization is already available inside the buying platforms, and it's really going to be compliant in the cookieless world, especially in GDPR countries. So really, we are talking here about contextual campaign events that are not really user specific and that are going to be available in the next years. So the question then is how the AI can be used, to build strong differentiation, even if some user-specific information, which were basically some of the big differentiators in the last few years, are going away. And I think there are basically two ways we can use AI to do that. First is to understand that AI is a very good tool to extract as much information as possible from a data set, and that actually what counts is not really the data that you have, but how you use this data, how you really extract the most value out of it. That's the first direction. And the second, as Michele was saying, is to see that actually there are other trends in the market than just the privacy. And for instance, sophistication of advertisers, the fact that they are increasingly optimizing towards their true business outcomes and not simple media KPIs. And so this means basically that AI is needed to optimize towards custom KPI, because each advertiser has custom needs, and more realize that the need, their problem is not the same as other advertisers, and this means that you need to have a custom AI to optimize towards really what's really important for this advertiser. So maybe on the next slide, Michele, just giving example of how AI can extract more from readily available data. So this is quite simple example of, but it's also one of maybe the more powerful features from Scibids AI. And conversion pixels are basically as old as programmatic campaign, and it's a common best practice to tag a conversion funnel with different events. Some very important feature on an application of AI is the way an AI is able to learn from really all events on a conversion funnel. So for instance, one of the specificity of Scibids AI is really a learning procedure which continuously transition between event types observable in the learning process, and is going to affect, for instance, at the beginning of the campaign, where there are very few purchases available, is going to learn mainly from high volume events like quality views, click, or visits, but then gradually it will switch the attention to more consequential events such as visit, carting, and purchases. And if you compare that to what has been basically the industry standard over the years, which is asking the buyer himself to choose the event on which the algorithm would have to learn from, in terms of choosing maybe the purchase event, but then there is not enough volume to learn, or having to choose a visit, and then going back to the DSP to try to select the right compromise between what's really try to achieve and what has high volume. It actually makes a big difference. So good application of exact same data, but treating that differently and extracting more value out of it.
Yeah, I think, Rémi, this is a great example about what does it mean to break silos. No, so in the old way, on the left, there are the silos from the pixels. In the new world, the approach made thanks to the artificial intelligence, we can blend, we can mix all the events that have some connections for some reasons, because every user has a different customer journey, and the weight to give to every event is different in any case. Yeah, and then there is another example here, right? How to work with a waterfall approach to optimize the campaigns.
Yeah, so another application is to give the AI really the instruction to really solve the true business problem of the buyer. So all sophisticated advertisers we talk with nowadays have some sort of complex campaign objective, multiple KPIs, primary, secondary KPIs, various constraints on viewability, on CPM, on budget, and really the optimization objective for each campaign is never simple. And what what has been done over the years is giving responsibility to the media buyer to go and try to find the right settings in the buying platform in order to say, okay, well, no, my campaign is pacing correctly, so maybe I should focus a little more on viewability or a little more on performance. While we think actually AI should be able to navigate by itself between the different constraints and objectives, and that's basically also we think a good application of really making the most of available data is having basically having AI solving KPI arbitrage instead of just optimizing each KPI separately. So basically, one of the things we think AI should do is to be able to optimize this complete scenario instead of just one thing, which is, for instance, minimize CPA.
Exactly. And after these two more practical examples, we can now enter into a new perspective. The AI is a powerful approach also to leverage new data sources. We think that the marketeers, the brands have many data around them nowadays, definitely more than in the past. And sometimes a brand uses some technologies to measure something. Our philosophy is that everything that can be measured can be optimized, but can also be scaled, not only optimized, because optimizing on a low volume is easy, but scaling is another story, definitely. Here, maybe Rémi, you can, tell us what's coming up in around our clients, especially with regards to brand metrics such as attention and other kind of KPIs, where the technologies that the brands have inside can be activated together with our AI on the bring your own algorithm solution.
Yes, so a big trend we are seeing is basically the rise of attention metrics. So large advertiser in the world that cannot really measure directly the impact of advertising campaign, but rely on things like brand lift or offline sales. So when measurement is possible but not actionable in real time, they are usually using some media proxy, some media KPI as a proxy to the performance of their campaign, whether it's unique reach, whether it's viewability, etc. And attention metrics are coming as one of the new KPI, which are quite growing trend this year and since actually a few years already. But for instance, we see a lot of activity in companies developing new attention scoring, attention metrics, and that's very interesting. But actually, if you think about it, then each time you develop a new metric, then okay, you can maybe report on this metric. But what's really important to the brands is how you can really optimize this metric. And maybe if you go to the next slide, yeah. So
let's consider this. Yeah,
exactly. And so that's also what's really important to have in mind is that if you have a custom AI, it can basically very, very easily optimize toward any kind of possibly new KPI you can give it. And what's also interesting is to consider that brands, even all brands that are interested in attention, they will have different attention definition. They will use maybe different partners. They will think of attention as a different thing. Maybe some will really want just to minimize the cost per attention view. Some will say, okay, no, I want to minimize my CPA, but in my attribution model, I'm only going to count in terms of post view the viewed impression where there was a high attention score. And so you are going to have as many KPIs basically as there are of advertisers. And then really what's important for these brands is to have not only a way to report on the result, but possibility to really maximize their result, maximize their campaign outcomes, and this is what a custom AI brings.
Yep. This is, I think we are arriving almost at the end of our talks, but there are a couple of slides again. And as we said before, the AI is probably the only way where we can scale when we need to put together and to break the silos and to create connections between different platforms or different data sources, right, Rémi?
Yeah, completely. So I mean, we really think that AI-powered custom algorithm give buyers the ability to integrate all the variable and the data they have in the media plan, and really allow to break the data silos by activating all the data and new metrics in one of the most critical but also under challenged part of the stack, which is the bidding, really the actual media buying. So yeah, we think maybe to conclude that obviously I mean, data and AI are indeed the hot couple of the new privacy era. That there are also developments in AI that rise above the need to invade the user privacy and really allow to create performance and scale for advertisers, even in a world without cookies.
Okay, so in a nutshell or in a summary, as Rémi said, we explained that we can go beyond the traditional data. We can use many data sources that are more respectful with regards to the users because are less user-centric and are more brand-centric and customer-centric with regards to the end of the last user. AI can activate this data on a DSP, on a demand-side platform, where Scibids is bringing the customized algorithms for every client, for every campaign. We structure the processes and platforms, so it's also difficult to demonstrate and to show the AI, but we have platforms, and it's interesting to see that when you look to the DSP and when you see how Scibids is updating the settings of the DSP and the codes in Python, example on custom bidding or on other DSPs, how there is the interaction, we can understand how we can definitely optimize the processes more times per day, also bringing operational efficiency in front of the traders. No, so we are not here to substitute the people, but we are here to empower the people to think more strategically, to implement more campaigns, to use better the budget, and to allow them to reach also new KPIs such as the attention ones. I would have one question for Rémi at the end. It's not in regards to AI, but it's again more about Scibids. I mean, you as a co-founder in a speech is always a pleasure. And I would like to ask you, this kind of company, I mean, how can work, and which is the culture that is driving Scibids nowadays, and also that it was at the beginning that the right culture to succeed so far, which is the secret of success from the cultural point of view of Scibids?
Okay, that's a great question. Obviously, culture is very important to us because I mean we've been global since the very beginning, so we are quite. I mean we are around 60, but we have 10 offices, so really we need really everyone to work together. And actually, I think well in our industry, like we only win as a team. For in order to succeed on a customer, we need our sales, our account manager, our data scientists, all to work together. And that's really a culture based on collaboration and care, a genuine will to help each other, on ownership, and on two things that are very important to build a strong AI, which is rigor, taking data-driven decision, apolitical, and also reaching for excellence.
Super. Thank you very much, Rémi. Thank you, everybody. Here you have our emails, Rémi@Scibids.com, Michele@Scibids.com. We are sure that this night, when you will think about the hot couple, you will have some questions, so don't hesitate to send us an email at any time you want. So, bye-bye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Rémi.
Thank you.